Life flows on the river of purpose. We're all carried by the uncertainty of its own unfolding. Chasing purpose is all about nurturing faith, setting intentions, pursuing aspirations, all while living boldly. Chasing Purpose aims to inspire, uplift, and empower people through real-life stories. Stories that encapsulate life's memorable moments and enduring life lessons. Chasing Purpose with host Syntyche.
Here is what we are not going to do in 2022. We are not going to play small. God created us in His image and His likeness. He created us to live a bold, purposeful life. We are also going to stop self-sabotaging. We have these amazing ideas that we're passionate about. You sleep, eat, and dream them, but you allow yourself to think of ways that the very idea that you're passionate about wouldn't work. Or why you shouldn't send the email, or why you shouldn't quit that job to pursue something you're passionate about. All these things speak to self-sabotaging. Another thing we're going to stop doing in 2022 is procrastinating. How many of you right now have a million things on your to-do list, but continue to put the things off until tomorrow or a later date? A quick reminder, you have no idea what tomorrow may bring, or even if you're going to see tomorrow. Let's prioritize and get these things done now. Yet, another thing we are not doing in 2022, we are not or no longer dimming our light for anyone or for any reason. The moon doesn't quiver at the rising of the sun. We need to realize that we are given one chance at life. I'm not saying we cannot start over, nor am I saying life is easy. What I am saying is that today, right now, I want you to make a promise to yourself to do better, to go harder, and to shine brighter on your journey of purpose. Welcome to Chasing Purpose, a show where we have thought-provoking conversations surrounding 4 pillars: nurturing faith, pursuing aspirations, setting intention, all while living boldly. This is a journey of self-development, self-love, healing, and spirituality. Each week, we aspire to empower and uplift you on your purposeful journey. On last week's show, we were joined by educator Jason Brown, who shared great insight on the topic of validation. Here's our purpose pull.
There will come a time where you're going to need help on the water.
Yeah.
You're drowning.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be your floaty, your lifeguard, your boat, and you're going to have to row that boat to the shore.
Yeah.
Are you going to drown, or are you going to lift yourself up?
Thank you, Jason. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chasing Purpose with Syntyche Clarke. There you'll find Jason's episode and all other Chasing Purpose episodes. Our candid conversations continue with author of Kill Fear Now and The Art of Courageous Living and Public Speaking coach, the gorgeous Krystal Tomlinson. Krystal,
thank you.
how are you?
It's a blessing to be here. I'm feeling really good.
I am too. The gems that are going to be dropped. I didn't say this, guys, but get your water, get your journal and your pen because, oh, honey.
We're about to get your life.
Yes, all of it. All right, Krystal, do you think as a society we've gotten stuck in complacency?
Oh, so let's give it a big view, right? We experience a lot of change, and it happens very rapidly in this era. They call it the 4th Industrial Revolution. So technology is just changing everything. So in practical terms, we do operate in an intense and quickly changing society. So there's nothing that is static enough. You'll have a job, you'll go to school, you got the degree, did all the things I told you to do when you're in prep school. And then by the time you get into the workforce, it has rapidly and radically changed.
Yes.
So in practical terms, our world is always changing, and it's hard to sometimes find a sense of stability and equilibrium here. But the brain has a way of creating a sense of comfort, stability, and equilibrium if you can't find it in your physical environment. And that's a comfort zone that I think you're talking about when you ask if we are complacent. So we're looking for ways where we can find something that makes sense and feels very routine. The brain loves that. It doesn't like to be doing a lot of thinking and decision making. So if we can decide on a way that we handle our mornings, get up out of the bed, head to the bathroom, use the toilet, brush your teeth, step in the shower, head downstairs, make the coffee, put on the podcast. If the brain can figure out a routine, it locks it in immediately and stops thinking. It loves to go on automation. So it's easy and in fact biologically safer and more efficient to be complacent. And that's why change feels so hard. That's why we get angry when COVID came and just kind of dug up the whole thing. And you mean I have to learn to use a computer now? Why? My job all along I was doing, you mean I have to do meetings through the phone? Why? I'm used to looking people in the eye. The brain is literally fritzing at the thought of learning to do something differently, because that means more work, turning on some more brain cells and synapses and different parts of your prefrontal cortex. That, I mean, we had this off for like a good 2 or 3 years. You mean I need to wake up these brain pathways now? It's mentally frustrating, emotionally frustrating, and it can send all kind of stress signals to the muscles that make you feel like your world is collapsing. Just because you don't get to go in the office anymore, or just because the job you had, you don't have that anymore. So you lose sight of the opportunity because you're being asked to change. So yes, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, we prefer complacency and comfort.
Okay, that perspective is a fresh perspective for me. One that I welcome. Yes, the routine is important, and it's being a mother of a 10-year-old, getting that routine in the morning it's important. But I find that just when I say complacency, just us not showing up for ourselves, us being comfortable. So you're saying, all right, because of the the way our brains are wired, and I understand that, I get that. But how can we not fight against our brains, but kind of train ourselves to show up for ourselves in this space, in a space where COVID has kind of has upended us? How do we not get comfortable in, the world is opening back up, but I'm going to still do Zoom because Zoom has me in the space of, I can just roll out of bed and just put a top on, and just put on lipstick. How do we show up for ourselves?
So we have to look at the things that cause us discomfort. Sometimes it is sending that email. Sometimes it's getting up and attending a meeting, having a difficult and uncomfortable conversation with a spouse, with a best friend, with your child. When the moment comes that causes you discomfort, like I don't want to do this, I would prefer to do the thing that I've always been doing, ask yourself too, well, what opportunity exists on the other side of this discomfort? Because your challenge is meant to change you. When I see difficult situations and new situations coming and it feel like a challenge, I also call it an opportunity to change. So what is not right about me now? What is looking to grow in my spirit now, in my business, in my relationship now? Why this challenge shows up? Because a challenge is always an opportunity for me to change. So if emotionally you are always ready to learn and to grow, when something shake you up, your first shift in thought is, well, whoa, hold up now, opportunity here to change, not woe is me, my world is crumbling, God don't like me, people are fight against me, everybody bad mind, and I'm dead now. You see it as an opportunity for change and to breathe new life, new perspective, new ways of doing into this beautiful life that you have. So there are issues, again, and I talk about the brain a lot because that is really the source of everything that we're doing, how we think, how we speak, how we feel, the people we want to be around, the quality of the relationships we allow ourselves to stay in and to build. And that is again related to this wiring of, if I start it, I don't want to ever stop it, I want to always do it this way. And psychologists describe it as a sunk cost benefit. So if I've been doing something for a very long time, if it's time for me to do it differently, I think of all the time that I lose if I stop doing that. And so we talk about even jobs. You have a job that you've been doing for 10 years and you're about to lose the job, or there's an opportunity for you to take another job. And you think about the 10 years that you're going to throw away by leaving the job. That's a bias we have, that we don't want to feel like we're losing something. And because we don't want to lose this routine, we say no to something that is new and something that invites us to change. So if we're going to get over that feeling or that fear of change and the need to be complacent and stay where we are doing the same old, we have to look at life with more joy, more positive anticipation, and then more self-trust. Many of us do not look at change as a good thing because we don't trust ourselves. I don't believe that I can get this thing right. I don't believe that I will learn. I don't believe that I will win. I don't believe that people will like me. I don't believe I'm worthy. There is no self-trust. So something different look as if it's an automatic fail waiting to happen because I don't believe in myself to do well in this new space. So it's a lot of inside work and just changing what we're thinking so that we can show up differently, even in moments that are requiring change.
Inside work. Something that I believe is important at any stage or phase in our lives. A lot of us are in this routine. You know, sometimes some of us are on this autopilot life, not realizing that we constantly need to be doing inside work to realize, to actualize our purpose. Even just to get ourselves together in life, to show up for ourselves, we need to be doing inside work. So let me ask Krystal Tomlinson, what does inside work look like for you?
For me, I call it heart work. And for me, heart work is the hardest work that we'll ever have to do. Looking at yourself and determining if I am who I say I am. Because there's this profile that we present. Sometimes we don't even present it. People build it for us and invite us to walk into it. Like, this is who I think you are. Do you want to be this person? Okay, the person I think you are says this. Don't say that. Go there. Don't go there. So do you want to like fall into my box for you? And sometimes we say yes because we never even thought about who we want it to be. So sometimes we've created a profile that we try to live up to and project into. And other times we want to step into the image that other people have of us. Doing the hard work requires asking yourself a few things. Well, what are my principles? That's the first thing. I'm going to show up in this life and I want to operate on a few principles. What are they? And so I heard you say off camera, you know, that's not the kind of culture that we're cultivating, you know, hinting at the fact that we have some principles that we want to work with when we're dealing with other people. Set those principles for yourself. Set them as early as you can. If this is the first time you're hearing about having life principles, pause, use that notebook if you did, grab your journal, and set those principles for yourself. I'll share a couple of them that I have for me. Some are spiritual principles. One of them is the good in me brings good to me. And that's a deep and rooted belief that I am a good person. And even if I make mistakes, fundamentally, it does not rob me of my goodness. And I can always take a better decision to correct a mistake, to become the good that is in me. But also, it hints at that question of me reaping what I sow. So if I continue to do good things, if I think good things of other people, if I say good things about other people, if I do good things for other people, that good is going to bring good to me. So that spiritual
not
principle
to cut you, not just to you, but to your beautiful Zia. It's going to come back to her.
Yes, that's a benefit and a profit for her. So I don't have to chase anything. I don't have to convince people of my goodness. My one responsibility is to continue to cultivate that good that's inside of me and allow that to attract a profit for myself and for generations to come after me. And then there's also productivity principles that I have. Parenting principles too, but let's go to the productivity one. I take courageous and timely action. So that helps to remind me around procrastination. If you're afraid of this thing, that's not who you are. You are the person who takes courageous, brave, bold now, timely. It has to be done at a particular time so that it is useful action, not just thought and speech. You have to do the work. So I read those principles to myself every morning, and wherever I see myself in conflict with the principles, I have to go back and either correct, apologize, or commit to doing a little bit better in the next moment, in the next meeting, in the next day. So that's part of the hard work that I do, establishing the principle, and at the end of the day, checking my actions to see if it lined up with the principle, and where it didn't, just be humble enough to learn, grow, and do a little better tomorrow.
Many persons give up at the first sign of difficulty or failure. How, and I think you spoke about this earlier, but how can we move away from that mindset?
Well, fear is biological. Let's start there so you understand what it is. When you're feeling a threat in your environment, your body is preparing to do something. Now, your body don't know if you're going to run away or if you're going to stay and fight, but it gets itself ready for the worst case scenario, which is that you want to fight. So if you think about the palms sweating, the hand shaking, your throat feel like it tighten up, your belly going, your heart racing, that's all physiological changes happening so your body can focus and really zone in on this danger that you think is coming and fight if you want to fight. When we start feeling those stuff, we start to use it as evidence that we mustn't do nothing. So the belly start go,
Yes.
You don't know that it's peristalsis. It's your body just saying we're not going to digest no food right now. We need energy because if she says she want to take on this thing out, we need all the energy to take on that thing out. Mouth, get dry. We're not producing saliva. Kind of eating time now, right? A fighting time. So make we just get yourself together and focus. Heart is racing, pumping blood to the muscles because if you say take it on, body is ready. And we feel that until I lie on the body and say, my body is telling me that I shouldn't do it. My body is telling me that I'm unprepared. My body is telling me that I'm nervous and maybe I need to just calm down. And your body is actually gearing up to attack whatever it is that you think is about to cause you danger or discomfort. So when you feel the fear now, or you experience the failure, and the body is doing all of those things, mixed into that is a sense of danger, the fact that I have lost, or I did not win, or I have failed, which has happened to me a couple of times in very public spaces. Some of my big failures, I don't have the privilege of experiencing them behind closed doors, like losing a national election. So when that happens, the body wants to tell you, well, go into hiding because, you know, people are going to criticize you, and the fact that you have failed means that you will never win at anything again, and so you must give up any thought you have of doing anything in leadership or anything in public. That is what my brain is telling me about what my body is doing. And so I have to talk back to the brain. I don't know if you've seen those cartoons where the angel and the devil on the shoulder, and the devil is telling you something, and then the angel is like, no, but you need to think about it. Sometimes I have to be that angelic voice and say, well, no, people have failed at these things before. It doesn't make them a failure. So that's the first point. We're not going to identify our self-worth with our experiences. I am so much more than the things I experience. I'm not even my successes. If you think you know me because of the things that I've succeeded at, you're not ready for God, girl, yet.
Yes.
But just a come.
Yes.
There's more to do.
Yes.
I'm full of potential. So that is just one expression of the potential. So I don't even identify myself with the successes, much less the failures, because I know I am so much more than those experiences. There's more in me. And the more I learn, the sharper I get, the more experience I build. It's the greater my next attempt is going to be. So the first thing we have to start doing is to stop identifying ourselves with our experiences. 1. 2, develop a sense of trust that even if you don't know what's about to come, you can develop the skill or you will adapt. There are some organisms that they call anti-fragile. So when the stress and the overwhelm and the chaos comes in the environment, that organism actually finds a way to get stronger. And we can create that in ourselves. Again, as I said in the first part, thinking about those experiences as opportunities to grow. And so you can build some anti-fragility. I think we undervalue our opportunity to bounce back. And that's why when we taste a little failure, because we don't think we can be resilient, we're not spending enough time reflecting on how we've been resilient before, looking at what life has given us and how we turn lime into lemonade and how we turn stress into something that is now success. We're not looking back at our pattern of performance. So we genuinely can't remember, say, we have winner in the DNA, we have success in the DNA, we have resilience in the DNA, because we're not looking at ourselves. We're hearing what people said about us. We're looking what everybody else is doing and trying to measure up to what they're doing. So spending more and more time looking at yourself, pausing, giving yourself some grace, compassion, allows you to look at even the failure and say, boy, you know, you try your best, girl. Or, you know, if you are a little bit more prepared at this point and that point, you could have foreseen the challenge and had the tools for it. So next time, get yourself prepared. You're learning. There's some things you're not going to know. So failure is a must, but you don't have to flop yourself. And we flop yourself in the failure when we go, Jesus, I can't get up again. This is it. My dead done lock up shop and now turn down the pot. Because I can't just not do it again. That is when you flop. We're all gonna fail. But we've seen people failing out, like Oprah failed so many times, but she not flop. Billionaire. Rihanna has failed a couple times, but she not flop. You keep getting back up. Keep getting back up and allow the sails to take on the wind and chart a new course.
So much gems in there. So much gems in there. The one word that jumped out to me though was compassion. We are extremely unforgiving. We do not show ourselves grace. I won't even say we even lack compassion for our own selves, much less persons around us and other people. We lack compassion and this idea of giving ourselves grace. Why do you think we're blocking these things?
We've actually been taught to do that, and I take it as a responsibility I have to break a generational curse as I'm raising my daughter. When we made mistakes as children, we were scolded, sometimes embarrassed in public, and for some of us, physically beaten and bruised because of errors that some of our parents were still making, you know, like putting something down and don't remember where to find it. Some of us had parents who beat us for that, like actually just not remembering something, you got beaten for that. So your humanity, the things that are going to naturally happen, we weren't taught how to deal with those things with grace. A lot of us saw violence as the way to deal with those human errors that really required forgiveness and a soft conversation. And so we take that lesson, you know, this is how I was raised, this is how I see other people being raised, this is the standard, and I hold myself to that standard. So when I make a mistake, the response is self-deprecation, some kind of self-assault, because I am stupid and I'm dumb, and why didn't I know better? So I'm taking it as a task now to teach my daughter differently.
Yeah, we have to.
In the moments that she makes her errors, the first thing I'm going to ask her is a question. Well, why did you do that? And let's see if we can establish what you were thinking and what principle was guiding you. Do you remember the principle and agreement that we have around how we deal with something like that? Okay, yes, it's not that you had memory loss. You're just choosing to violate that principle. Now, what do you think is an appropriate consequence for that principle? Because this are the consequence me ready to give you. Me go take what this and I get for good that and we're not going to do that. Do you think that's fair? And she can also learn to express, well, you know, I'll take a punishment because I understand the principle here, but could the punishment be delayed? Could the punishment be something else? Could we kind of work this out together? At some point, we'll get to negotiating the punishment. You don't get to negotiate it now, right? But I'm also open to her being part of that selection of what you're going to deny yourself to show that this thing has a cost.
That's
what
important.
will be your reparative action now? Because sometimes I think I'm going to take a privilege from you, but the best approach is reparative action, going in and doing some work to bridge whatever gap your action would have caused. But it's important for us to give people a moment to think through why you did what you did, the cost and the impact of what you have done, and what is an appropriate punishment or action to close the gap and repair whatever breach exists. When we make that a habit, I can do the same thing for myself. What did I do? Why did I do that? And how do I repair that breach inside myself? Because cussing myself don't make me any more empowered. Beating myself up don't make me feel like I can get up and take on the world again. It makes me feel even smaller. So how can I stand up back in the light when I've made myself feel like nothing? And I think one of the best ways we can start doing that is actually practicing it outwards with others and seeing the impact and the value of that.
Absolutely.
And then building that practice now and turning it in. Because I can't lie to you, it's going to be difficult to do it with yourself, because nobody hears the things that you're thinking. You know, nobody's in there with you to kind of tap you and say, no, don't say that, don't think that thing, that's not true. So we can begin by showing that and expressing that compassion with other people. It invites them to express that same compassion to us, and it builds a culture now of just love. I mean, I've had people reprimand me strongly, and I know it's from a place of love. And I feel bad about what I've done, but I know that the reason they've said that to me is because they believe the best of me is not to shame me or to embarrass me or to put me down. And so it helps me to apply that to myself, even when that person has stopped or moved on, or we're not in conversation or working together anymore. So I know that that's a practice that has worked for me, and I would encourage people to try that, especially in parenting, to extend that compassion to your children. Yeah.
Extend the compassion to your children. Yeah, because, you know, even in my household, I was raised by a parent. My parents were strict, you know, but they were teaching me what they were taught. They were rearing me the way they were reared. But I know that how I was raised, I couldn't do that with mine. There's no way. So that same approach of asking the question, well, why did this happen? What was your thought process behind this? And allowing them to really, realize that, okay, I was wrong. So I'm going to have to, there's going to be a punishment for actions. Yeah,
exactly.
That is so there are consequences that are just so important. Krystal, let me ask you, what is your why?
Okay, so I have one big, like, overarching super why. I don't want my creator to ever doubt how grateful I am for the life and the opportunities I have.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can't afford for the creator of the universe, who has blessed me with the opportunity to be on this plane, in this time, at this moment, in these experiences, to ever kind of pause and go, you know, so somebody else should I get that slot they do, because time I waste right there, so right? Cut that show your shot, because I don't like what other shift you run. I want God to be honored in my work. I want people who see me to also recognize the goodness and the grand expression of love that has caused me to be here. So I have to make decisions that come from a place of godliness, which is love. I have to talk and deal with people through love. I have to do my work with passion and love. Anything my hand find to do. If you tell me that my job now is to light candles, may I light candles like nobody's business. When me I go for light candle, man, I'll 2 cartwheel candle, poop, sick, make a song, something, because I am grateful to have an opportunity to do this. That is my why. So anytime I get a job, anytime I'm in a conversation, anytime I'm doing an interview, the question is, how can this show and manifest very clearly the beautiful thing that is life and love, and how we can live it in a way that honors the life energy that we have, because we're here for a very short period of time.
Very
the best use of it.
Yes.
And nurses have told us, like when they're on the final hours with a patient and ask, you know, what do you regret? It's the things that they did not do and the things that they did not say. It's not even so much how you did things and made mistakes. When your life had done, you're thinking about, well, how could I get like a little more action in this? Not even to go back and correct a mistake. We're willing to forgive ourselves at this moment, right? Okay, that's gone already. But I wish I could have done this thing and said this thing and moved in this direction. So take the action purposefully while you can.
Take the action purposefully while you can. Krystal, which mindset do you mostly possess? Be good or get better?
Be good. Be good. Be good. Yeah. And it's not that sometimes I don't think about how do I get better, but I think that naturally happens when I focus on doing my best in the moment. I had a conversation a few months ago with Tammy Chin, and one of the things she said is that even in difficult times, one of the best things you can ask yourself is, well, what's my next best step here? What is my next best step? So instead of measuring, is it better than what I did before? And so, no. Right now in this moment, what's the best decision I can make? What's the next best step I can take? And just take it as best as you can. And the other thing that kind of resonates with me when you say be good is be good with it. Accept it. Be okay with it. Be okay with this moment. You know, after I have this interview with you, I pick my daughter up from school, but I'm good with this moment. If this interview is taking a little bit longer, I'm not going to allow anxiety about the thing that I'm supposed to do next and the other thing and the big and the plan and the If this were to go beyond the time that we have set, I will be good with it. I'm going to accept, Eckhart Tolle says it best, I'm going to accept every moment as though I chose it, as though I decided that this is what I want to happen now. And then that allows me to make the best decision, because if I'm not resisting the moment, I'm fighting the moment, I'm vexed with the moment, I'm wishing me in another moment, I'm wishing me in another moment with somebody else, there's nothing you can do in this moment, because I'm just not even here accepting it. So I want to also be good with it, whatever it is.
And that's a great mindset to have, because I can't tell you how much times I've been in a moment, and because I know I'm looking to the next moment, I have a million and one things to do. But you're not even realizing that the moment that you're in, you're either losing yourself, you're losing the presence of the moment. I love that, guys. What has been your greatest challenge in staying focused on your priorities?
Aligning my actions with my values and my beliefs. That has always been the most difficult thing for me, because some actions can happen automatically without thinking, unconsciously, out of autopilot. And staying focused and present with what I'm doing and making sure that I'm doing it in the way that matches my principles, with the people who match my principles, for the purpose that aligns with the principles. That has always been the most difficult thing, especially when you are a multi-potentialite, as I've heard people call it. Like, I could be doing so many different things. And sometimes I get caught in one of the many other things that are just not the divine authored calling and the best use and the highest level of contribution I can make. It's a good thing, but it's not the highest level of contribution I can make. And so it's always hard for me to kind of go back and, you know, recognize that while I enjoy this thing, while this is a good thing and it supports and serves a positive end, someone else may be better suited to do this than me. So let me get up and, you know, create some space for somebody else to take it and go do what I'm supposed to do. Saying no to things, delaying wanting to do something, no, and just saying, okay, I'm not going to do it now, because in this now, this is the thing that I would rather do or I should be doing. That is always the hardest thing for me. I have to tell the truth. I just rein in myself and line up what I do with what I have established to be the purpose and the principle for this season.
What are some steps that persons who are procrastinators could implement to move away from that practice?
So the list of a million things to do, as you had mentioned at the top of the show. So one of the things I do, especially with lists of many, many things that could be done, is an Abcde principle as part of, you know, a time management process. So I didn't invent this, but I learned this one. So we go through the list, if it's 100 things, and you write A beside all the tasks that are urgent, like time, have to do it now. Important in that it helps you to get to an important goal that you have. So in order to access success, this is an important thing to do. and has a clear negative consequence. If I do not do this, something bad is going to happen, either for me, for somebody else, for the outcome, for the job, whatever. So it's urgent in terms of time, important in terms of your purpose and your work, and has a clear negative consequence. Write A beside those things. And all your A tasks, you do them first. If you're going to do 1 a day, 2 a day, 3 a day, but your priority is to do all A tasks before you move to any other task. So you get up every morning, what's the A? And do every single A, as many A's as you can stomach for the day. Brian Tracy calls them your big frogs, like the things that really move things forward for you. Do them first. Full up your belly on the big, ugly, hardest to eat frog. B tasks now are the things that are not urgent. So you don't have to do them, no. But they are important and they do have a clear negative consequence. So you can delay them. And that is what allows you to do all of your A's first, and then you move to your B, which you have a little more time to do. Your C task is not urgent. It's not important. And it doesn't have a clear negative consequence either, but you just enjoy it. You know, this is something that is not a big purpose, goal and whatever, but I like to sew my own clothes. You know, I like to knit. I like to learn how to do makeup and watch those YouTube videos on makeup. I like that. So here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to get to the workstation and load up the YouTube video to watch makeup stuff when you have A tasks and B tasks to be done. So we put C beside that, and we know we're going to do it, but after we've done A, and B, we do some C. Any other task, it not urgent, it not important, it have no clear negative consequence, and you don't even like do it, right? Where are you for? You're gonna delegate that now. Give it to somebody else who would at least enjoy doing it, somebody for whom it is an important thing for them to do. And then your E task now, where you can't delegate it and there's nowhere else that it could go, just eliminate it. And that is what takes the courage now. Crossing it off and saying, I'm going to call back Marcia, and I'm going to tell Marcia that this thing that I had said yes to a couple months ago, it's actually not an efficient thing for me to do. I made a mistake, and I'm no longer able to commit my time and my resources.
And be okay with it. You know, a lot of people, we make those same eliminating decisions, and we begin to fester in us like, oh my God, I should have did it. No. Be absolute.
Yes.
Be absolute. Be okay with it. Growth is the great separator between those who succeed and those who don't. Is this true?
Growth. Well, I mean, yeah, I could see that being true, because in order to grow, there's some things you have to do. There's some things you have to do. So I could accept that. Growth separates those two categories of people. Yeah. And why that's important too is because as human beings, we're meant to grow and to blossom. Like we all started out as a little teeny beeny weeny egg, and then we grew as embryos and into little children. And then when we came out, we just kept growing. Like your nails grow, your hair grow, your nose grow, your lashes grow, everything grow. When you get into your job functions and your relationships, why do you think that, you know, growth is not also a natural part of that? Well, I forgot grow this too. Yes. And so that's why I can accept it, because growth is a mark of you living your humanity in fullness. It's a prerequisite that you be growing.
That you be growing. And I believe that we constantly need to be growing. The minute that we think that we shouldn't be reading anymore, we shouldn't be taking the master class, or that we even within ourselves shouldn't be doing our hard work, is the minute that we kind of locked ourselves all and we begin to really lose ourselves and die.
Absolutely, because if you ain't growing, you're going to become extinct and die. Yeah.
Krystal, are you chasing your purpose, or have you found your purpose?
I think I'm still chasing, and that's because the seasons, as they change, bring with it a new standard, a new goal, a new manifestation of that purpose. So when I was in university, here's what I think my purpose is, and I'm always open to just being divinely guided otherwise. But I think my purpose is to use my voice, like this voice box you saw, what God give me, right? To transmit the kind of energy that serves the spirits of those who hear it. So whenever I open my mouth, that thing about word being sound and word being power, I think that my purpose involves using this thing here to give power and to share power with people who may themselves not have any, or just don't see that latent power. It just kind of wake up that giant for you. So in high school, that had to do with me speaking up in classes on behalf of people who were like too shy. And I use that sometimes to like actually fight. Like, why are you picking on this person? You know, I will be your great intercessor. Call me the Holy Spirit. Never work on this field. And, you know, physically like fight people. When I was in university, advocacy and leadership was how I used that voice. Now I train people in the art of public speaking, and I use my platform as well to use my words powerfully. So in every moment, because I don't believe in that stagnation, I'm also asking myself, well, have I maxed it out here? Is there another way to use my voice powerfully? What is that new way? Do I have the skills to do it now? Do I need to learn? Do I need a mentor? Do I need a coach? And just grow into whatever that new purpose or manifestation of the purpose requires. So maybe 3 years from now, there's another thing that I will be doing, but I fundamentally think it will always involve just my words and my voice being part of my purpose. So I'm open to the change in seasons, and I commit always to being willing to grow, never being too proud, to refocus, reposition, and repurpose myself.
Love that. What advice would you give to someone right now who's struggling with self-discipline?
Ooh, whoa. All right, so self-discipline is you taking charge of yourself. As parents, we can discipline the children. As bosses, we can discipline the staff. Self-discipline is disciplining yourself. And so you have to take charge of your business, your life and your business. One of the things I ask people to do is to step into certain ceremonial roles. So think of yourself as like a CEO. I'm the chief executive officer in my life, right? And when I run business at work, I don't take chat. If this is the life, this is the goal, if this is the target, it where I go from, I don't want an excuse. And if the thing that got at me, have to come to me earlier, let me know, say, nah, so we can shift and reposition. But we can't flop as a team. Talk to yourself that way. What are the goals that I'm trying to accomplish here? As a chief executive officer, what's the key decision that I have to be taking in this moment, in this day, in this quarter, in this year, in order to get there? And if you see yourself as that important in your life, that sort of passive allowance of anything can go on, and if I feel like do it to them, I do it, and if I'm in the mood, I'm do it, and you must say, I'm going to do one thing, but then I'm going to do the other thing. That can't work because you're seeing yourself as an official in your life and not just taking it as it go. So change your title. Change your title. My name is Krystal, and I define myself in a very powerful way. For you, it may be in this issue of self-discipline, defining yourself as a boss. So you'll hear people talk about boss girl, boss chick, black girl magic, like things that remind you that you are in charge of yourself. Every single day I have to remember I'm in charge of myself. It's the first thing. Give yourself a role and a function in your life. The second thing I would ask you to do is to ensure that you are not giving yourself too much room and grace to flop and make your mistakes. Accountability is important.
Very.
If you're struggling with self-discipline, bring somebody in so they can check you.
Like an accountability partner then.
My accountability partner, for example, in my finances, is my mother. Because I know I can't tell Miss Michelle no foolishness. If I tell her, say this is how we work on, when we're supposed to have that monthly check-in and she's going over my finances and she needs to see the screenshot from my bank account and show, like, Krystal, why did you make this order? In fact, no, even for Amazon, I don't shop through my Amazon. I shop through my mom's
so
Amazon.
She can say, look here now.
She has to put the money on her Amazon card.
Well,
and it helps because, you know, Amazon gives her a credit card and things, so it helps to build up her credit and all kind of stuff. So I don't even use my Amazon account anymore. She has the money. And I said, Mommy, I have allocated, me trying to be professional, I've allocated $300 for Amazon purchases this month. I'm going to take a deep breath and wait on her to read the message. And then she said, well, explain to me what you're buying. Put the things in the cart. Let me look at it and see if it's things that you actually need. I mean, down to my Amazon purchase. So even though we agree.
We need the accountability,
right? We agree I'm going to spend $300 now. But she's also not going to allow me to be loose and fast with the $300. So she said, me put some stuff in the cart. You can't take out this thing, you know, because I already, for example, stuff for my daughter. You can't take out the shoes. Because I put in some stuff in I want order. So she going to get some shoes. You can't take out the shoes. None bother spending money on her shoes. Why are you buying this? Why do you not think you can get something like this? And so she's keeping me accountable, even in the leisure self-care activities as well. So bring somebody in to keep you accountable.
Important.
One of the other things that I would recommend is attach a cost. When you are not disciplined, you have to be very clear about what that indiscipline is going to cost you. Many of us, because the goal we have is we alone know, nobody know. So if we don't accomplish it, who else know but God, right? So there's actually no cost or risk to it. I will be no worse off, I'll be no better off, and it's me alone, no. Put a cost to it. When I want to get more disciplined in terms of time management, for example, I've said to my team, I want us to work on a principle or a process where I'm early for everything. And for the things that I'm not early, I have to pay, in the case of my bookings, I have to pay my manager an extra 5 to 10% for that particular activity.
Yeah, no, that's a great practice.
The people who have to wait on me, I have to pay them $1,000 Jamaican dollars. So you can imagine if a group of 100 people waiting on me, when I say I cannot afford to be late, I not just say it in terms of I don't like to be late. I mean, I really cannot afford afford to give $100, no, $1,000. But don't have it like that. So I have attached a very clear cost to the area where I don't have enough discipline. And then that sense of urgency, that sense of accountability, that sense of I am the CEO, I'm in charge of this thing, I can take control of this right now. All of that marry well together now to make sure that I change the habit or build the good habit that can increase discipline. So those are some strategies I'd recommend, starting with the self-reflection and owning it. This is my job, nobody else's job. Can't blame nobody, can't drop asleep on my life. Who is going to help me to be accountable here? Bring that person in, make sure it's somebody you trust, somebody you respect, and somebody who can talk to you. Can't them forever talk to you, they can't hold you accountable. Which is why my mother have to deal with my money, because my mother don't afraid for color me, right? And then finally, what's the cost? How does this impact your pocket sometimes in a very clear and hurtful way, so that you will make sure that I don't incur this cost over and over again, because I really can't afford to lose in this particular area.
Krystal, what is the one thing you are working on within yourself for 2022?
I'm working on a couple of things, but I think the biggest challenge for me is going to be consistency, to remain focused on what I start and making sure it's done, without the distraction, without saying procrastination, without allowing my many potentials and the requests that people will make of me to take me off course. So I'm very, very focused now on how to build in consistency, how to track myself, reward myself for having streaks. A concept I saw in a video online sometime last year was not zeroing out. So if I say I'm going to work out for 30 days out of the month, I'm focusing on getting to the full 30 unbroken. And if I miss a day, when I get to day 16, I end up starting back from zero, zeroed. So it's almost like pressing your speedometer and making sure that you are consistent until you get to 100 and that you don't drop to zero and have to start over. So consistency is a big thing for me, and just making room too for expansion. So there are many things that I have prayed for, and there are things that I have now, and I have to be willing to just release some of that and make room for the expansion. Some of the old ways of doing things, some of the systems that I have in place and the people that I have in place, just being open for growth and expansion and change, especially in business.
Well, we wish you all the best on that. That consistency for me and that focus is super critical. So when you come with them systems and process, just holler at your girl, because
Thank you.
Share a time with us where you've been the most vulnerable, and how did you deal with it? How did you overcome or grow through it?
Okay, the most vulnerable I've ever been, I can think of two, which kind of tying for first place. The most vulnerable I've ever been was actually having to go through the separation with my child's father in a public space, and deciding that I did not want it to be a public separation, even though the public would be interested in it. And it was difficult at the time, because you refuse to engage in some of the rumors and the supposition, but in not engaging, some of those things will build, and then others will see or hear and think it's true. And it felt like a point of vulnerability for me, because my name, I think, was kind of just being moved around in certain spaces. People kept trying to guess what happened and making up their own story and narrative around it. And just sitting still and understanding that it will be okay. And if you are misunderstood in this moment, it will be okay. And if people leave thinking the wrong things, it will be okay. Because even this big shift and all the noise that's happening around it does not change fundamentally who you are, your goodness, and what you have the potential to do. So let them talk, as Garnet Silk said. If them talking, we're going to keep them talking. Yeah? Laugh while they're talking. Yeah, we've got a lot more coming. Garnet Silk is my dog when it comes to... I shouldn't say dog, but no, seriously, love Garnet Silk's music.
There's gems all throughout his work.
Yes. Okay? So that's even one of the songs that I ended up playing, Let them talk. Keep them talking. That is their job. Right? You need to have something to say, you need an opinion, you need to fill up your blogs, you need to set up your YouTube videos, and you want to boost your views so YouTube can pay you a check. Make that money, bro. Make that money, sis. It does not change fundamentally who I am and the opportunities that will still come. So I think in that season, I was reminded, because it's something I always knew, but I was reminded that being still is also sometimes a place of power, like not allowing the wind to shake you and to cause you to say, no, wait, hey, no, I don't need to exert my power in that way. My stillness is also an exercise of power, because I know who I am. And for somebody who has to live, I shouldn't say I have to live in the public's eye, but there is public interest around what I do. There is sometimes an inclination to kind of chase down the opinion and correct it and fix it and make sure you're properly understood. But that's actually not what helped me to become who I am. It's not convincing people about having the right opinion of me. It's staying steady and consistent and making sure that what I say is what I do, and what I do aligns, can stand up to So it's again watching myself and watching my behavior. That is what has drawn people to me. If you look on some of the comments under my posts, you'll find people, well, I've been following you for X amount, and if it's one thing, you're always this, and if it's one thing, you're always, I'm like, yeah, that's good. I didn't even remember I said that 3, 4, 5 years ago, but it's good that 5 years later, I'm still saying the same thing, still doing the same thing. Very important.
That the consistency is critical in any space. Yeah, you being consistent, whether it is in your mental space, your health space, your work space. Consistency is important, very important. Someone right now, Krystal, is watching us, and they need a word of encouragement. Self-worth is an issue for them. Just kind of showing up for themselves is an issue for them. Just using their voice is an issue for them. I'm going to ask you just to encourage them.
I'd say one thing to you, and it has been the most powerful affirmation for me. The good in you brings good to you. No matter what you have done, no matter what has been done to you, no matter what you feel like you can't do, the fact that you're here is evidence that you're still worth it. The breath flowing through your body still finds those bones and those muscles and the cells to be worth it. You're a viable creature even though you have life. And so there is goodness in you. You're still here, you're conscious, you're present. Doubly blessed if you still have all your faculties with you. You can still get up and move. You may not have all the tools you think you need to move, but you can learn and you can grow and you can amass those skills and those talents. You may not have the perfect environment in people who can speak life into you. Great thing is that we're connected digitally. You can find better mentors, better communities, better circles of friends online. You can recreate and curate better voices on your timeline to speak the things that you're probably not hearing in real life. You don't have all the steps to have the perfect plan and to execute it with the support of your rich uncle and your connected brother and the family inheritance. That's okay. There are people who have started just where you are, but they started first with trust in themselves, believing in their idea and trusting in themselves to learn how to get it right, even if they make a few mistakes. So you don't need to have it all together to start. Trust yourself to put it and to bring it all together as you work. Forgive yourself. In order for you to continue practicing loving disciplines and habits, you can't also hold things against yourself, almost like a record of wrongdoing, reminding yourself what makes you unworthy and why you deserve to be treated poorly and why nobody good now come around you and why good things now happen for you because I made these mistakes. Forgive yourself, release that, and make room for the good that is in you to bring more good to you. You're gonna make mistakes, gonna get some things wrong, gonna face self-doubt. From this point on, it's gonna come at you. Fear is gonna come at you. But you have to remember your own worthiness. Nothing that you have ever done in life robs you of your worthiness. Even the man who murdered somebody could be in prison right now being reformed. So even the person who has taken a life still has an opportunity at redemption and reformation. So don't rob yourself of that because you made some mistakes in the past, especially if it has never risen to that level, right? Don't give yourself too much grief and hold yourself hostage to those errors and those mistakes. Sun rises every day, and with that sunrise is a new opportunity for you to take advantage of life and give it your best shot. So start small if you have to, but start and give yourself a fighting chance.
Yeah, that was a word, okay? That was a word. Krystal, thank you. How important is it practicing mental vocabulary for you?
Wait, tell me what you mean by mental vocabulary.
When we're talking about positive, in our minds, this word, power, sound, right? Are you practicing in your mind mental vocabulary?
I have never thought about it that way under that title, but yeah, of course, there are some things I'm going to say to myself and people cannot say to me. Like this concept of I can't or I do not know how to. I am learning to. I will learn how to. I'm setting a goal to develop a skill in this area. I don't have time to focus on the ways that I am incapable because even in that incapacity, I have a moment to grow. Absolutely. So there are some words that I kind of strike from my vocabulary, but in the morning, I have my mantras. So I read through a set mantra for each year. I switch them up every year. But depending on what my spirit needs to be reminded about as I'm working on certain goals, I have the mantra, I use certain words. So when I finish saying those things, even when life presents itself to me, some of those same words are coming back to frame the experience. One of the ways I can paint the picture for your viewer and your listener is putting clothes on, like mental clothes on. So I don't go out in the world naked and wait on people to clothe me, to define my experiences, to define my potential. I do that from before I step into the world each morning, and that comes through some mantras as well. So a morning routine, and included in that routine are some mantras. And then how I define myself. When people ask me who I am, I have to be prepared to tell them, because if you itch and stumble and buck, them will tell you who you be. Them can tell you about yourself. Them always ready to tell you about yourself. I don't know, for 3.5 minutes, right? So you have to come with a definition of self. And for me, I'm daring, dynamic, and deliberate. Krystal, what is it? No, it's because I'm daring. So how do you know? It's because I'm deliberate. And so, oh yeah, it's because I'm dynamic. I know who I am, and I can frame my actions, my behaviors, and my thoughts. But remember, I can say that, but how am I living? Is that aligned? Which is that daily reflection as well. But yeah, self-definition.
You talk about your daily reflections. How do you nurture your faith?
Ooh, in the morning, my Bible app is on phone, right? So in the mornings, I get up and I spend about 15 minutes. Sometimes if my daughter sleeps late, I get 20, 25. Oh my God. But yeah, about 15 minutes where I spend just reading in scripture. I also read outside of the Christian faith. So I was raised in the Christian faith, but I read outside of it. So reflections from Islam, from Buddhism, any kind of spiritual teaching that I think lines up with the value and the principle. Don't matter who said it, if it lines up with the value and the principle, I'm going to listen, because it's not one set of man who write the Bible did have access to wisdom and divine art, right? So we read widely. But I carve out that time in the morning to do that reading. I also use gratitude journaling as a part of my faith practice too, because it honors the good things that are happening. You know, sometimes the day gets too fast that you don't recognize that you are blessed, abundantly blessed. There's nothing that you lack. Even when you didn't expect something, look at this good thing that has happened to you. So expressing gratitude in my journal as well helps me to stay focused and stay faithful. And even how I frame my work, I think it's spiritual too. My company is called the Success Farm because of that faith I have. That if you follow the laws of nature, you know, you will reap what you sow, right? So if I'm to plant purposefully and water my seed and give the seed what it needs and honor the season and do what this plant needs me to do in terms of my goals, nature will turn around and do what nature does. Like nature, and they said God will not be mocked, and there's no word that God will send out that will not come back bearing fruit. I think nature operates on that same principle. Nature says if you plant the seed and you water it and it's in good soil, you're going to get the pear tree. Yeah, man, if you put in 100 orange tree and orange seed and if you do the orange seed, I'm going to give you an orchard of oranges. Me not tell a lie for myself. So if you do what you're supposed to do, I will turn around and do what I'm supposed to do, because I operate on principle, like the laws of gravity. If you're on earth, you're going to dump on the ground so you can't fly. That is what gravity does. It's meant to keep you down. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do, gravity will do what gravity is supposed to do. And so for me, that's an expression of faith. Even the laws of the universe are just reflecting the divine will of the creator. And if I follow, watch nature and see what nature does and pattern some of those things and honor those natural principles, I can't go wrong either. And so even in my work, I see it as planting, watering, flourishing. And that's an expression of my faith, when I plant properly and I see the fruit of my labor.
I like your energy.
Thank you.
I've never met Krystal, and she's a public figure, right? But I like your energy. I like what you brought to the space. Thank you, Krystal. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for for your candidness, for being open and for being honest. Again, that's that consistency that you talk about. I don't want Casa and Makia off camera. It's that consistency. Okay. Where can our viewers find you?
You can find me online at Krystal Tomlinson for Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. On Twitter, it's Krys Tomlinson, Krys. And of course, the successfarm.com, which is where I kind of house a lot of the products and services, coaching, and other products that can support people who are looking for help to build discipline, consistency, focus, passion, self-love, and find the purpose, so we can stay aligned. So Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for
here.
having me. I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
to be here, and I'm
Yes.
grateful that what I've shared has an opportunity to just kind of reach your peeps.
Yeah, and
touch and bless them.
and it will.
Thank
All right,
you.
tonight's hashtag PPV, which is our purpose point of view, is how are you showing up for yourself in 2022?
How am I showing up for myself? I am being honest with where I am physically, spiritually, emotionally. I try to be mindful of the things I say to myself that nobody else is probably hearing. I try to be kind, to myself, and also be grateful for the journey that I am on. So that's how I show up for myself. Acknowledging where I'm being honest about how I feel, and trying to speak to myself as kind as possible.
You can send us your voice notes or DM us at chasingpurpose_on-purpose. We get an opportunity every day to show up and be our very best selves. The opportunity to dream big, to aim high, to strive for greatness. Put down the procrastination, eradicate the self-sabotage, kill fear now. Stop playing small. Turn your light all the way up and shine. The time is now. As always, sow seeds others can benefit from. Wishing you love, light, and purpose.